it's Steph. This is a special mini-sode of the Another Door Opens podcast today. If you listen regularly, you know I normally interview a new guest each week, but this week, there is no interview. Instead, I want to take a moment to honor my late and dear friend and karate teacher, Cheung Shiu-kwong. In June 1993, I enrolled in a karate class at Hong Kong University, and my teacher was a man named Cheung Shiu-kwong. If you've been listening to the podcast from the beginning, you heard me mention his name at the very end of the first episode with Christy Sweetland. When I first met Cheung Shiu-kwong, I asked him how should I address him, and his answer was an enthusiastic Sifu. As you might know, that's the Cantonese Chinese pronunciation for master or teacher. So from that moment on, I thought of him and addressed him as Sifu. Even after our club started to introduce the more fitting Japanese language of sensei. I didn't know back then that he would become a beloved teacher, mentor, lifelong friend, and a powerful force of good in my life. And I didn't know then that his example of leadership, dedication, stoicism, kindness, focus, devotion, compassion, humility, loyalty, and humor was a mixture seldom found in a person. And I didn't know then the hole I would feel in my heart when I heard of his recent passing. While the martial arts lessons I learned from my Sifu during 6 intensive years of karate training left an indelible mark on my spirit, the life lessons he modeled are perhaps even more lasting. Under my Sifu's guidance and training, I practiced diligently, almost obsessively, and competed in both kata and kumite in tournaments, that's forms and fighting. As a young lady who arrived in Hong Kong knowing no one, I found a family of wonderful friends at the dojo. Years passed, and after I earned a black belt, my Sifu told me I would be helping him teach a children's karate class every weekend, for a young lady in her 20s who still liked to stay up late. He had no problem scheduling my Saturday mornings. I did not have confidence that I could teach, but that was my Sifu. He knew better. And of course, I immediately loved my young students and so looked forward to their smiling faces every weekend, running in with little stuffed animals bobbing off their backpacks, belts unevenly tied, sometimes their hair sticking straight up because they'd rolled right out of bed to the dojo. My Sifu and I would teach together every other weekend because his other job was what we called Changdun-zhou, which meant long, short week. So he'd work a 6-day week and then a 5-day week and then a 6 and a 5 and so on. It was the perfect way to learn, feel some fear and learn to teach alone, then feel some relief as he came and showed me the way, and repeat. As a student and as a teacher in training, and as a young person finding my way in the world, I started to believe in myself and my own abilities. And what I am trying to say is that I believed because he believed. I wanted to do something to honor his memory because his funeral is taking place this week in Hong Kong. So I decided I would share with you the 7 dojo ethics and rules of conduct that I received from him that very first night of training in the summer of '93. This list set the stage for 6 years of hard training that followed, all under Sifu's guidance. And in sharing this list, not only am I sharing a little of the memory of my Sifu with you, I'm sharing some food for thought with you. While some of these are pretty dojo specific, maybe something on the list will trigger something in you about how you approach what you do in your work, in your relationships, and in your life. Number 1. Students should bow upon entering and leaving the dojo and when greeting sensei, instructors, and senior students. To me, this is a lesson in presence, or if you prefer the word, mindfulness. It's a gesture of respect for the work that is about to be done. It's a gesture of respect for the people with whom you are about to do this work. And it's a gesture of consciousness and awareness of transformation. It suggests, at this moment, I step across this line and adopt a warrior's mentality. I step across this line and conduct myself professionally. I step across this line and strive to exhibit exemplary behavior. I step across this line and appreciate decorum. I step across this line and respect those superior, equal, and junior to me in rank. I step across this line and do the work. I step across this line and stand tall alongside my brothers and sisters in class. Number 2, training suits should be kept clean and tidy. Shoes and socks should be removed before entering the dojo. To me, this is a lesson in self-care, not just presentation. Having a clean and tidy body and uniform was a physical and mental act to give attention to purpose. The intention was clear. This is how I care for the tools of my trade. This is how I care for myself. This is how I show respect for the art. This is how I show reverence for this work and this practice. Number 3, silence, seriousness, and diligence must be maintained during training. My Sifu was definitely serious, and when dealing with combat sports, it is serious and dangerous work. Seriousness is required. Diligence is expected. If we weren't willing to be serious and diligent, well, why be there? There was little talk while training, only listening, observing, digesting, reflecting, understanding, practicing. I would like to emphasize the last 2 words of this 3rd rule. Silence, seriousness, and diligence must be maintained during training. During training. My Sifu was capable of belly laughs and goofiness and fun when not training. I know there is a place for mixing fun and work, and we all know it has to be both for it to be really sustainable. But when it comes to a serious task, a duty, a form of training, if we're not serious about it, we're dangerous and also putting ourselves in danger. We would need to ask, are we really committed to excellence? Number 4, train with a sense of respect for the training itself, with respect for the instructors who pass on the training, and with respect for other students who help each other to learn. Respect. When I would arrive at the dojo many times, I was carrying the worries of my life with me. If I'd had a stressful day at work or at school, depending on where you pop in on my Hong Kong timeline, my Sifu could see it. If I had a stressful day in my personal life, my Sifu could see it. Without either of us saying a word, I knew my eyes probably revealed the intensity of my distraction or pain, and he'd look at me with seriousness and concern and say sternly, "Stop thinking. You think too much." Knowing that this 4th rule of conduct about all-around respect was expected of me felt like I was given a template to redirect my thoughts, my mindset. The headache or stomach ache I arrived with may still be there, but my mind could hold on to the necessity of respecting my teacher, other instructors and seniors, my fellow students, and the way they had all shown up for themselves and each other by coming to practice. And it reminded me that there was something to be said for me also showing up despite my own distractions. We can redirect with thoughts of respect. Number 5, all free sparring training must be conducted under the supervision of an instructor. If you're learning to fight, understand that you are learning. When learning a new scary thing that requires vulnerability and courage, know you're not going to be perfect. Know you're going to need to learn to move and be nimble. Know you're going to get hit. Know you need to recover. Know you're going to the unknown. Know that it is a sign of being a learner to allow instruction and correction and supervision. The day we can't learn is the day we have shut out the world and all of its opportunities for growth. Fight, then learn, then fight better. Number 6, students during training cannot leave the dojo without the consent of the instructor. What do many of us do when we get uncomfortable in the process of learning something new? We leave, we shut down, we throw up our hands. We want to remove ourselves from the discomfort. This rule of permission to leave the dojo applied to everything. A drink of water, a bathroom break, or in my case, on my first night, because I felt like I was seconds away from fainting. I see this rule as a good check on willingness to endure and get better or to give up and leave. Let me be clear. I'm talking about a healthy situation here only. If we want to get in the ring, as I talked about in my book, Get in the Ring, we have to get uncomfortable and stay uncomfortable. We have to fight our own demons. We have to be willing to be the student. We have to ask ourselves how much we want it. We have to face the potentially greater discomfort that comes with asking permission to leave. Again, I'm talking about a healthy situation here only. If you are in an unhealthy relationship, give yourself permission to leave. Number 7, students must not engage in activities outside the dojo that would bring disrepute to the dojo. I know this one sounds like a page from corporations worldwide, but that's just because it makes sense. What's the saying? How we do anything is how we do everything. Knowing that we are one person in one place and another person elsewhere is a good indicator that in some area of life, we are out of alignment with our own integrity and true self. To me, this rule asks, who do you want to be? Do you want to be a champion but do only participants level work? Do you want to hold respect in one room of life and disrespect yourself and others elsewhere? Do you wear one mask here and another mask there? When I think of this last of the 7 rules, I just think of congruity. Are we congruent in our lives? Does what we say and what we do match who we are? Where do we need to make changes in order to live congruently in our lives? Those are the 7 dojo ethics and rules of conduct. I'll post a photo of these on social media because I taped them into a photo album the night I got them, and I'll also list them in the show notes. I left Hong Kong at the end of 1998, and I saw my Sifu a few times after that, when he and some students visited New York, and then on 3 subsequent trips that I made to Hong Kong. He always went out of his way on those trips to get together for lunch or tea. The last time I saw him in person was 2013. When the COVID-19 pandemic hit in the US in 2020, Sifu sent a message to me on WhatsApp and said he wanted to send me some face masks. Here in the US, they were a little hard to find in those early days. To my surprise, the masks arrived in less than 2 weeks. We donated some of them to the Children's Hospital, offered some to others, while keeping some for our own use too. My Sifu would send screen grabs of mounting numbers of illnesses and fatalities in the U.S., imploring me to take good care. My Sifu's thoughtfulness and generosity is what shined through in him. And Kwong, in his name, Cheung Shiu-kwong, means light or bright. As we celebrate Sifu and his lifelong commitment to karate and to his students, his powerful, loving example will shine on forever. Dojo-sai, Sifu.